Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. Governor Matawale calls on federal government to extend its Special Public Works program to 1 year. People can mourn me the way they like when I die, says Obasanjo. The Attorney General of the Federation lists access in letter to President Buhari. On business, Buhari signs instrument approving African Trade Insurance Agency. And on the international scene, exiled former ZANU PF top brass urged ANC to intervene in Zimbabwe crisis. Now the news in details. Zamfara State Governor Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawale Maradon has called on the federal government to extend the period of its designed Special Public Works program from the period of 3 months to 1 year for the purpose of equipping a reasonable number of the nation's unemployed youth for a complete 1 year. The governor made the call when he received the state chairman of the selection committee, Engineer Ahmad Garabayandi, and other members of the committee who paid him a courtesy call at the Government House Council Chamber, Gusau. The governor said the federal government Special Public Works program, initiated by the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, is an ideal, built and designed for the purpose of reducing the unemployment rate at all levels, which will impact positively in reducing the crime rates in the country. Governor Matawale further commended President Muhammadu Buhari for creating 774,000 jobs through the extended Special Public Works, in which a reasonable number of unskilled workers will be recruited and a lot of families will feel the essence of the program. He called on the federal government to consider the possibility of extending the duration of the program from the planned 3 months to the period of 1 year, noting that at the end a lot of the engaged workers will have a reasonable amount to establish other businesses or acquire some working materials that can sustain them over a time. Governor Aminu Masari of Katsina State has warned non-governmental organizations against going into any of the internally displaced persons (IDPs) camps in the state under any guise. Governor Masari, who issued the warning on Monday at the Army Special Super Camp 4, Faskari, stated that they will not allow the NGOs under whatever guise into the IDPs camps. He explained that the fight against bandits and banditry is not over, but they can handle the displaced persons adequately because they have sufficient food, clothing, shelter and security for them, while they strengthen efforts in restoring security for them to return to their respective homes. He stressed the need for the IDPs to return to their homes as soon as possible because leaving them at the camp is what is giving opening for those wanting to prolong the banditry. While commending the military for their renewed effort in fighting the bandits in the northwest, Governor Masari said government needs to take more kinetic and administrative actions that will completely end the menace. The Nasarawa State House of Assembly has suspended the chairman of the Nasarawa local government in the state, Alhaji Muhammad Sani Otos, over alleged insubordination. The House also suspended the Deputy Chairman Karu local government, Lawal Yakubu Karshi, over the same allegation. Alhaji Ibrahim Abdullahi, the Speaker of the House, announced this after the Chairman of the House Committee on Local Government, Alhaji Muhammad Al-Kali, moved a motion on the activities of the affected council officials at an emergency sitting in Lafia on Monday. Alhaji Abdullahi alleged that the chairman of Nasarawa local government and deputy chairman Karu local government abandoned their official duties to attend a court case involving former secretary to the government of the state SSG Alhaji Aliyu Ahmed. He said the act was a disservice and a constituted insubordination. The chairman of Nasarawa local government council is hereby suspended pending the investigation of his act of insubordination. The deputy chairman of Nasarawa local government is hereby directed to take over the affairs of the council on acting capacity with immediate effect. the deputy chairman, Karu local government, should also proceed on suspension. The Commissioner of Police is hereby directed to provide adequate security cover to acting chairman of Nasarawa local government while the investigation lasts. Police in Nasarawa State have arrested 27 suspects over alleged armed robbery and kidnapping in the state. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Bola Longe, told journalists on Monday in Lafia that the suspects were arrested from different locations across the state within the last 2 weeks. Mr. Longe, while parading some of the suspects at the police command headquarters in Lafia, said among them were those connected to the killing of village head of Odu community in Nasarawa local government area, Amos Obere, on July 31st. He explained that the suspected killers of the village head were arrested from a drinking joint in Nasarawa town where they were having fun. He said the suspects also confessed to kidnapping some commuters in local village who were traveling from Otupo in Benue State to Abuja. Mr. Longe said the suspect behind the killing of a superintendent of the Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, Salisu Usman Maku, and his sister Sa'adatu Usman Maku in Gudi, Akwanka local government area, were also in police net. Former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has responded to the criticisms that have trailed his controversial condolence message on the passing of Buruji Kashamu, a former senator and leader of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in Ogun State. Mr. Obasanjo, in the condolence message, said, "Let Mr. Kashamu, who was wanted in the U.S. for alleged drug offenses, was able to escape justice but could not avoid death." Mr. Obasanjo said Senator Esho Jinadu Buruji Kashamu in his lifetime used the maneuver of law and politics to escape from facing justice on alleged criminal offense in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. But no legal, political, cultural, social, or even medical maneuver could stop the cold hands of death when the creator of all of us decide that the time is up. The former president prayed that may Almighty Allah forgive deceased sin and accept his soul into Al-Jannah, and may God grant his family and friends fortitude to bear the irreparable loss. The Benue Police Command has confirmed the killing of 30 villagers by unknown gunmen in Edukui district, Apa local government area of the state. The command's public relations officer, PPRO DSP Kathleen Anene, made the confirmation in a statement on Monday in Makurdi, the state capital. DSP Anene said that the district head had over time experienced incessant crises over chieftaincy tussles until the state government intervened and peace returned in the community. She said the suspected attackers remained unknown while investigation into the matter had already commenced. Peace was restored to the area, but on August 10th, at about 0400 hours, information was received that about 20 armed men invaded the community and shot sporadically at members of the community. Nigeria's Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, lists assets in letter to President Buhari, fails to mention multi-billion naira properties acquired after becoming minister. In the letter to Buhari, Malami claims that he was not corrupt, as alleged in the report, other that he had never taken a penny from public funds till date. Perhaps, jittery that he may be fired after a series of detailed investigative stories exposed his corruption-fueled lifestyle, Nigeria's Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami's son has written a letter to President Muhammadu Buhari listing his assets he declared with the Code of Conduct Bureau before taking up his present appointment in 2015. The AGF informed President Buhari that he was already a wealthy man with several thriving businesses before he came into government 5 years ago. The Attorney General explained that his appointment as a minister in Buhari cabinet, he had conducted himself strictly within the confines of Code of Conduct for public officers contained in Part 1 of the 5th Schedule of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended. He said It is to be noted that, apart from his successful legal practice of more than 20 years, 7 of which were as Senior Advocate of Nigeria before his appointment, he had, as allowed by law, an interest in business ventures, all of which he had resigned from active participation upon his appointment. On business. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the instrument of accession of the agreement for the establishment of the African Trade Insurance Agency. The agreement and the agency are registered with the Secretariat of the United Nations in accordance with Charter of the United Nations and is in cognizance of the fact that lack of adequate political, non-commercial and commercial risk insurance is a significant impediment to the availability of finance for investment in Africa and the expansion of African foreign trade and intra-Africa trade. The agency, when executed, will acknowledge previous multilateral efforts made by African states towards regional economic integration through cooperation in trade liberalization and development so as to attain sustainable growth, promoting economic activity, and create an enabling environment for foreign trade as well as cross-border and domestic investments. And on the international scene, 2 exiled former ZANU PF bigwigs who fled to the country after the ouster of former President Robert Mugabe have written to South Africa's African National Congress ANC, requesting the Liberation Party to save Zimbabwe's ruling party from military capture. Former ZANU PF Politburo members and ministers Professor Jonathan Moyo and Patrick Zouwa said ZANU PF had lost its value because of the persistent crisis in the party. Prof. Moyo and Zouwa, both close allies to the former president and members of the anti-Nangaga G40 faction, said no other political formation in Zimbabwe could decisively deal with the country's crisis beside ANC. They are requesting the ANC to positively and substantively intervene to help save the tradition, ethos and values of the liberation movement in Zimbabwe. They believe that the ANC faces a very high risk of having a rogue neighbor north of the Limpopo. ZANU PF is no longer the liberation movement that it used to be. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Governor Matawale calls on federal government to extend its special public works program to 1 year. People can mourn me the way they like when I die, says Obasanjo. The Attorney General of the Federation lists access in letter to President Buhari. On business, Buhari signs instrument approving African Trade Insurance Agency. And on the international scene, exiled former ZANU PF top brass urge ANC to intervene in Zimbabwe crisis. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.